Welcome to the first episode of Endurance Questions. This is the series where I answer 5 questions from you, the viewers. This was a series that was initially a part of Hypercar Updates, but I'm separating it from that and creating this whole new thing, which will reoccur every month in addition to the Hypercar Updates episodes. The point of these videos is for us to communicate as a community and for you to ask those burning questions you have about endurance racing. Starting off with question number 1 from Creepeats GT, hopefully I pronounced your name right. What is BoP and how is it calculated? First off, thanks for your question, and this is definitely an interesting one and a topic that needs its own video if I'm being honest, but I'll provide a quick summary here. Now, what is BoP? We hear this term a lot in the series such as the WEC and IMSA WeatherTech series, and that's for a good reason. BoP stands for Balance of Performance, and its purpose is to make the racing more close and competitive. And it adjusts the technical parameters of prototypes and GTs from different car manufacturers to make them compete equally. The balance of performance is set in place before a race weekend starts, and it specifically addresses factors like power, weight, and stint energy, for example. It's calculated by judging the recent form of a car in events and the tracks the cars visit. For example, in Sao Paulo, Ferrari was heavily affected by the BoP as they had been dominating in the World Endurance Championship, and the BoP made them lose ground to their rivals and ultimately not dominate or be successful in Brazil. To this day, balance of performance arguably remains one of, if not the most controversial topics amongst motorsport enthusiasts, whether it be in the WEC, IMSA, DTM, etc., with both sides of the argument having understandable points. Since BoP is a very technical-oriented topic though, it can be very confusing for newer fans to understand. But I'm curious to know what you think about balance of performance. Whether you're for it or against it, I'd be interested to know your thoughts in the comments below. And I'd definitely like to make a full video breaking down even more factors about balance of performance. At number 2, we have a question from Williams Chen. With Jenson Button announcing his departure from Cadillac Hertz Team Jota, who are the possible candidates to replace him? Jenson Button is leaving a space open in the number 38 Cadillac, following his announcement that he will no longer race full-time in motorsports. And the question now is, who will pilot the V Series R in 2026 alongside Sebastian Bourdais and Earl Bamber? Well, there are a few options for his replacement. One of the best drivers to replace Button is Antonio Felix da Costa. Da Costa was one of the main drivers at Jota, having been the first racer alongside Yaya Fee and Will Stevens to pilot the hypercar entries from the team. And he won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in LMP2 with Jota back in 2022. If Antonio Felix da Costa were to make a WEC return, he would most likely make a comeback with Hertz Team Jota, this time to drive the Cadillac V Series R. And he is the perfect talent to put in the car alongside Bourdais and Bamber. Just look at his move he made in Bahrain in 2023 during his final participation for the team on this number 50 Ferrari. The driver who likely has the best chance to replace Button is Mick Schumacher. He is a driver who would fit in perfectly at Hertz Team Jota as he comes with many great qualities. He's a former F1 driver, a talented racer, he has experience in the hypercar class, and someone who everyone will immediately recognize, admittedly due to his last name. In just 2 years of participation, Schumacher has already proven that he is a top driver in the hypercar class, having secured 3 podium finishes so far at Fuji, Imola, and Spa with the Alpine Endurance team, and he has been exceptional on the racetrack. His final stint at the 6 Hours of Imola this year is a testament to that statement. While it's not officially confirmed, all signs point to a Cadillac and Schumacher partnership beginning in 2026. But the German racer is not the only driver being considered to be Button's replacement. Another former Jota driver that's been heavily linked to be Button's replacement is Pietro Fittipaldi. Despite never competing in the hypercar class before, Fittipaldi has raced for Jota, most recently in 2023, when he picked up big results like winning in the LMP2 class at Monza. Pietro Fittipaldi also has his family heritage that Cadillac will want to consider, as he is the grandson of former F1 champion Emerson Fittipaldi. He also is a former F1 driver, and he is no longer racing in IndyCar, which was the main reason he left Jota in the first place. So Pietro Fittipaldi could definitely be an option for Cadillac Hertz Team Jota. Cadillac could also bring in one of their existing drivers from the IMSA family, like Jack Aitken, Louis Delatraz, or Philippe Albuquerque, for example. So obviously, Cadillac Hertz Team Jota have a lot of options for Button's replacement. Number 3, question from Justin Kids. Rank your top 3 favorite sports car races in 2025 so far, up to the point in time you see this question. Well, I'll make this quick. At number 3, I would say the Salem 6 Hours of the Glen in IMSA. Every time we witness a race at Watkins Glen, it's always action-packed, but this year in particular, the race was pretty intense. From a lot of rainfall, big crashes, Lamborghini leading overall with the SC63, the return of Magnus Racing, heartbreak for the 2 leading cars on the final laps, Acura winning, and so much more. So yeah, definitely a special one at Watkins Glen this year. The 24 Hours of Le Mans is my number 2 pick, which is kind of odd for me because usually this is my favorite race of the year. It was definitely an all-time classic though, with a close fight at the top and in the other 2 categories of LMP2 and LMGT3, drama across the entire 62 car field, a close finish of just under 14 seconds in the hypercar category between the leaders, and Ferrari taking another win. But this time history was broken because the customer yellow number 83 AF Corsa car took the victory. And it was also a redemption story for Robert Kubica, as he now is classified as an overall Le Mans winner. If I'm being honest, it wasn't my favorite Le Mans that I've ever watched, but how could you not include the iconic 24 Hours of Le Mans race? So far, my favorite race of the year has been the first one in IMSA, the Rolex 24 at Daytona. This year, the race was really good across all 4 categories, including BMW shocking the world with a pole position and being in contention for the first time to win, Kobayashi's incredible stint in the 40 Cadillac from last to first, the absolute drama in the GTD Pro category between Corvette and BMW, Porsche continuing their winning streak at Daytona, and Blomqvist's final charge for the win in the Acura. And honestly, I could go on and on from what we saw at Daytona in 2025. But now let me know your top 3 races so far in 2025 in the comments below. At number 4, Jai Spence asks, can you explain how scoring works in the WEC? I'm fairly new to endurance racing and can't wrap my brain around the difference between manufacturers' championships, why some cars get manufacturers' points and some don't, etc. Well, I certainly can explain that topic. The scoring in the WEC is divided into 3 main championships: the drivers and manufacturer standings in the hypercar class, and the driver standings in LMGT3. Across all the races, points are awarded to the top 10 finishers, just like in Formula 1. And there are 3 different types of scoring in the WEC. First off, there's the 6-hour race length scoring, which features the exact same points awarded as in a Formula 1 race, 25 for first, all the way down to 1 point for 10th. Then there's the scoring specifically for the Qatar 18-12 kilometer and the 8 hours of Bahrain. And here, cars get more points in the top 10 compared to the 6-hour race scoring, with 38 points obtained by first place, all the way down to 10th, with 2 points being awarded. Finally, there's the point system for the 24 Hours of Le Mans, which features even more points that can be scored than the previous 2 scoring methods, with 50 points for the winner down to 10th, which can score 2 points just like in Bahrain and Qatar. As for the question of why some cars score certain points and some don't in the manufacturer standings, I assume you're probably thinking of the privateer entries. This includes the Le Mans winning car from this year, the 83 AF Corsa Ferrari, and the number 99 Proton Competition Porsche 963. And these two cars do not score any points in the Manufacturers' Championship because they are not factory-backed entries. And by the way, just for the newer viewers to the WEC, before in 2024, those customer cars were part of a championship called Hypercar Cup, but it was eliminated for 2025 because of lack of entries with the removal of the Hertz Team Jota Porsches. The final question comes from the user Johannes Huels, and they ask, what's your take on the Asian Le Mans series out of all the series becoming the third featuring LMH and LMDH cars from December 2026 on? First off, great question, and I love the username by the way. I'm really excited for the introduction of Hypercar in ALMS. It's been something I've been advocating for many years. Any type of expansion to add a third series for LMH and LMDH is a welcome opportunity for me, as I see this as being a huge win for smaller brands, teams, and lower rated drivers. In fact, each car in the new ALMS Hypercar series has to feature a bronze rated driver, which gives them an opportunity to drive one of these fantastic prototypes where other championships like the WEC, they cannot. This also gives brands like Vanwall and Isotta Fraschini a chance to return to the racing scene and potentially make a comeback to the legendary 24 Hours of Le Mans through auto invites. This viewer has also mentioned why this series over all the rest, and well, I feel that ALMS was the best option. Otherwise, the FIA and ACO would have likely had to create an entirely new support series, which would have likely been heavily problematic. The only other series I could see having the capabilities to run the Hypercar class would be the European Le Mans series, but the reason why I think ELMS should not have Hypercars is because that series has become the de facto #1 racing series for the LMP2 class as the main category in a championship. Because with the removal of LMP2 in the WEC at the end of 2023, all the teams had to basically switch to ELMS, ALMS, IMSA, or expand to Hypercar. And with ALMS getting the Hypercar class, ELMS now becomes the only series in the world with LMP2 as the top category. And honestly, I hope it continues to be that way, because the P2 category is still a very competitive class. So that concludes the first episode on the Endurance Question series. Thank you to everybody who has submitted their questions, and if I didn't get to one of yours, don't worry, I might be able to do so in the future, as this series will return for once a month episodes. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.